Hey everybody, I wanted to take a minute and share some things that have been happening with me. I know it's been a while since we last connected, and a lot of people have reached out to my family and friends and myself even. I want to thank you for your thoughts and prayers. A lot has happened, and I'm going to try and bring you up to speed on it as quickly as possible. But last time we spoke, I was in a hospital, and during that time in the hospital, I had a very, very deep and profound and almost life-shattering experience. One that involved me being in heaven, going in heaven, being called to heaven, seeing my son walking in God's presence, being given a glorified body. It was very exciting at first, but as I began to share it with other people, I noticed that there wasn't such a reception to it, not a good one, and I didn't know how to handle that. Plus, after being in heaven and coming back here, it hurts. I looked into all the books, watched all the movies, looked at all the videos about people who died and went to heaven, and they always talk about how wonderful it was there. But I never heard anybody talk about how bad it feels to come back here after tasting that peace. I hear people talk about the peace that passes all understanding. Well, I tasted that, and it hurt to come back here. And anyways, I wrote as best I could about my experience there, and it has since become the prologue to a book that I'm writing about my life, and I wanted to share it with you. So whomever this is for, I pray that it touches your life as it has now in mine. Been able to come into my fullness with God and this situation. Here we go. There are moments in life that tear through the fabric of our understanding, when sorrow leaves its mark so deep that it feels like we'll never find our way out. I have lived through those moments. I have buried dreams. I have cried out prayers that echoed back in silence. And I stood still under the weight of losses that no heart should have to bear. But I have also stood in the courts of heaven. What began as a routine surgery became the door through which I was taken up, away from the ache of this broken world, into the presence of the living God. In an instant, everything that had ever been hollow in me was filled. Everything that hurt was healed. Every prayer that I had ever whispered, every tear that had soaked my pillow, every unanswered why was swallowed by a joy too deep for words. I was home, only a home that I had never known here, but I had always somehow remembered that home in heaven. Heaven is real. The peace there, that it doesn't resemble peace here, y'all. It is peace itself. I was given a glorified body. I was renewed. I was light-filled. I was whole. I felt no weight, no worry, no weakness, just overwhelming love. It's the kind of love that doesn't have to ask your name, because he already knows everything about you, because he made you. And there in that holy place, I saw my son. He had died at 13, but he wasn't broken anymore. He was radiant. He was perfect. He was alive in a way that only heaven understands. Our communication wasn't with words, but it was with a divine knowing, a pure, unfiltered understanding that passed between us like light. In that exchange, all the years of pain were undone. It was as if Jesse and I had never missed a day apart. Heaven sits outside of time. Heaven sang all around me, but it wasn't like music here. It was a sound unlike any sound on earth. It was a harmony, a fierce yet gentle wind, thunder and waterfalls, all wrapped up in this holiness. And woven into that music were the names of God. I mean every name, y'all. Every name. Jehovah, Adonai, Yeshua, Elohim. And these were constantly going on all around me. Every name shouted and whispered by every leaf, by every structure, by every being. Heaven is not built with hands. It is built and is sustained by presence, his presence. The mansions that Jesus spoke about, they are real, but they're not made of stone. They are living, breathing glowing places with the very light of God reflecting through them. Everything, absolutely everything reflects him. There are no shadows there. There are no memories of pain. There's no residue of earth's sorrows, only him. I remember feeling when I came back that I have been there before. And that's when a Bible verse hit me. It said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. That place, that presence, that's where we all come from. And one day, by his grace, I hope that we will return. But it wasn't my time. God said that there was more for me to do. He sent me back. And when I returned from the hospital, I wasn't grateful. I didn't return with praise. I came back with pain, and I tried to bury it. I resented God for bringing me back here. How could you give me the taste of heaven, Lord, that I've longed for since I was a little boy, and not let me stay? Now I was back in a world full of suffering, and I didn't know how to do that. I didn't want to know how. I just wanted to go back. So I left the hospital with a resentment for God and an addiction to pills. I turned to those pills to silence the noise, to numb the ache, to recreate, even for a moment, the feeling that I had in that place. But addiction doesn't deliver peace, it delivers chains. And those chains had me lower and lower until I hit bottom in the worst way. It had come to a place where I had had my 9th and my final overdose. It happened in a not so good place, a very unsavory place. I was surrounded, though, by people who were not religious, not churchgoers. They didn't live right. They wouldn't be welcomed in most churches. But it was those very people, men that the world ignores, avoids, and writes off, who God chose to save my life. Richie, Austin, thank you. Being led by God and answering the call to come there and help me. I will not waste it. While I was on the floor, blue and lifeless, others stood and watched, but one man, he saw me and he ran and found another man, and together they brought Narcan, and they saved me. I came to my feet, and as color was returning to my body, the first man ran outside, overwhelmed with tears and God stirring his heart. The second man, someone I barely knew, looked me straight in the face, and he said, God brought me into your life for this day. That moment in that place shattered every box that I had ever put God in. Every religious person. None of these people here had ministry degrees. None of them had plaques on the wall. They weren't out praying on this place and this place. They were people that the world would most likely, that churches would most likely reject. But this is what I realized. God does not choose based on your appearance, how many times you've been to church, your background, or even your current behavior. He chooses based on your purpose. I want to leave you with 3 scriptures that came to my heart when I was writing this. 1 Corinthians 1:27. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. Luke 19:10. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. And Mark 2:17. Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but the sinners. So now when people talk to me about how God works or where he can show up or God wouldn't be here or God wouldn't be there, I just laugh. I laugh because there's nothing that is outside of his realm. Nothing is outside of his time. Nothing is outside of him being able to fix. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And I pray that it touched somebody's life.